Morning everyone, welcome to yoga. Let's get started today in any comfortable seat. Just take a moment to find a seat that will support your neutral and upright spine, if that means sitting on a yoga block or a prop to help lift your hips a little bit higher than your knees. Go ahead, need some support on your knees, then set yourself up so that you can rest comfortably. We won't be here for very long, just long enough to set our intention and prepare for what follows. So, as you come into your comfortable seat, shift a little bit side to side, make sure you're balanced on your sits bones. See if you can release your low belly, make sure you're not holding in that area, particularly below your navel. A little neutral anterior curve in the low back, that means a forward curve in the low back, and then lift the chest and feel the shoulder blades sliding down your back and just start to soften around the eyes, maybe closing the eyes or at least lowering the lids and let your vision just lower and widen out. And then notice if there's any gripping in your jaw. See if you can release your jaw, and one thing that helps to do that is just let the tongue come down from the roof of the mouth. You can lightly press the tip of your tongue against the roof of your mouth or against the juncture where the back of your top teeth meet the gum line. And then start to bring your attention to the sensations in your body. What do you feel? Those places where your body's making contact with the mat. Start to notice the energetic quality in your body. Start to notice the condition of your breath. Not doing anything to shape or control your breathing at this moment, but just observing. And now bringing your palms together in prayer position, Anjali Mudra at the level of your heart. Let's take a moment to consider your sankalpa or your intention for your practice today. And what is it that you need from today's practice, your short-term intention, to help bring you into a state of harmony. And then taking a moment to consider where you'd like the practice to take you in the long run. Trusting that this practice will serve your highest intention. We'll seal that intention and set the context for what follows by chanting the Gayatri mantra 3 times. Feel free to join me if you're familiar with it and you'd like to add your voice. Om Bhur Svaha Tat Savitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhur Svaha Tat Savitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yona Prachodayat. Om Bhur Svaha Tat Savitu Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yona Prachodayat. Om. Slowly opening your eyes. Let's come forward onto our hands and knees. We'll find a neutral tabletop position. We'll start with just some free movement today. Let's begin to move your body in any way that feels good. You can take a few rounds of cat-cow, or do like I'm doing, do kind of a hybrid of moving your hips in circles and Also finding some spinal articulation, cat-cow type movement. Wherever you move, just start to greet your spots, start to notice those places where your body maybe feels a little bit tight today. Some of those spots may be familiar, some of them may be new. And then take a moment to notice those places where you feel a little more open to. And then change up the movement. So if you've been moving in one direction, switch up the movement. If you notice there are parts of your body that haven't gotten in on the movement at all, maybe start to change what you're doing a little bit. Add some more movement, your wrists, your elbows, your shoulders, maybe your head a little bit. Notice if your shoulder blades are moving or if they're fused. The low belly, the low spine, the hips, the knees, the ankles, all the way down to the tips of your toes. Alright, and then coming back to neutral, let's take our knees a little wider than our hips. Big toes maybe come to touch, and we'll sink down for child's pose. Stretch your arms out long in front of you and let your bottom sink just a little bit lower so you can feel that feeling of tractioning out your shoulders as your hands drag back on the mat. Taking that deep flexion in the hips. Remember, if this is too much on your hips or your low back, your knees or anything, you can leave your bottom high, but let your forehead come down onto the mat, just releasing any holding in the neck. I'm breathing here. And then on your next inhalation, slowly rock up into table. We'll take more of a cow shape, so look forward past the front of the mat, tip your tailbone up toward the ceiling, arching the back. And then exhale back to child's pose. We'll move this way a few times with your breath. See if you can maybe start to incorporate the breath in the movement. Each time you inhale, coming up, making the breath last a little bit longer than the movement. Each time you exhale, coming back down. Maybe adding that Ujjayi pranayama with a slight constriction at the back of your throat, if you have that in your practice. After a few rounds, you may find that when you come forward, you can move more into kind of modified up dog shape, taking your chest past your shoulders a little bit, drawing your shoulders onto your back body and lifting the chest, lifting the eye gaze. Make sure it feels okay on the low back, and don't worry about getting super deep into the shape. The point is to improve the quality of the movement with each repetition rather than to reach some level of depth. So it's not about doing the pose perfectly or according to some template as much as it is just feeling the movement, noticing the experience of traveling along this particular kinetic chain, and just becoming aware of those places where you feel real comfortable with the movement, and maybe some places where the movement isn't quite as comfortable. Alright, then coming back to your neutral table, let's curl the toes under and press yourself back for down dog. We'll continue with the breath connected movement. The next time you exhale, bend your right knee, shift your hips over to the right in your mouth. And then inhaling back to center. And then exhale, bend your left knee, shift your hips, your heels over to the left. And just keep moving this way. A little side bending, a little bit of a twist for the hips. Once you've done both sides an equal number of times, find your way back to your neutral downward facing dog. And on your inhalation, shift your shoulders over your wrist to find plank pose. So Charge up your legs. Draw the low belly in. Tuck the tailbone. Extend through the crown of your head. Broaden across your shoulder blades. Really feeling the sensation of charging up your legs. Feeling that power radiating out from the muscles above the pubic bone. Breathe into any shaking. Just feeling yourself building a little heat in the body. And then on your exhalation, let's lower all the way down to the mat, either in plank or knees, chest, chin. Bringing both hands alongside of your hips, turn your palms up to face the ceiling. Use your inhalation to lift your head and your chest. And then your exhalation to lower back down. And we'll just move this way a few times with your own breath. And the next time you lift up, let's stay lifted in the head and the chest. Keep your hands pressing down into the mat, but pick up your feet and pick up your knees. Come into kind of a modified locust. Continue breathing. See if you can get that subtle rebound feeling from the back of your hands and your pubic bone to help you lift just a little bit higher. Try to keep the back of your neck long, your face relaxed. And just letting go of any distractions that may present themselves through the course of your practice. Continue with your breathing practice. All right, lowering all the way back down to the mat. Let's bring both palms down flat on the mat with the heel of your hands down by your low ribs, and on your exhalation, push yourself back up through your neutral table, and then curl yourself back for downward facing dog. You gonna stay up there, Willis? Oh, well, there you go. All right, so in this downward facing dog, second downward facing dog of the day, let's take a moment to find a static stretch. We'll bring our attention to the fundamentals of the pose. Really press down through the L of your hands, formed by the index finger and your thumb, and then roll the eyes of your elbows toward the front of your mat. Release the crown of your head so that you're probably looking back towards your feet or maybe between your legs. Feel your shoulder blades sliding toward your tailbone, so up your back in this case. Tailbone is lifted. Back of the legs are lengthening out. Heels are heavy. Remember, you can always keep a slight bend in your knees if it feels good. Just continue breathing, noticing the sensations that are arising. All right, at the bottom of your next exhalation, bend your knees. Let's walk your feet up toward the front of your mat. We'll take a bent knee forward fold. You can do whatever you like with your hands, but make sure that you bend your knees enough that you can feel your belly and your low ribs making contact with your thighs. This will help to protect the low back as you allow it to traction out. And then if you want to grab for your opposite elbow and sway a little bit, or grab for that little bump on the back of your head with your index finger and middle finger to just traction out your neck. Both hands, you could do that. You can wrap your arms around the back of your knees or bring your hands to the back of your calves. Whatever feels good. You can explore a little bit, take a little exploratory movement, or you can stay with a more static stretch and just breathe into the sensations. All right, on your next inhalation, let's come halfway up. Find your half lift. Lengthen out through the back of your neck. Draw the back of your head up level with your shoulder blades. Draw your heels toward the long edges of your mat. Continue breathing. Okay, then on your next exhalation, let's bring your left hand to the outside of your right leg. Bend through your left knee and reach your right hand out past the side of your mat. Take a little peek on your armpit and then gently start to pull with your left hand on the outside of your right leg. Start to probably feel some lengthening, more lengthening on the back of your right leg, outside of your right leg as well. Kind of a gentle twist and a forward fold. Good, then on your inhalations, find your half lift. So lengthen out the spine. Extend the tailbone toward the back of the mat, really finding that long neutral spine. And then on your exhalation, bend through your right knee, bring your right hand to the outside of your left leg. Left hand comes out to the side of your mat. Take a peek underneath your armpit and then gently pull your right hand against the outside of your left shin. Breathing here. Coming back to neutral. Use your inhalation to come all the way up to standing. Sweep your arms up. Maybe palms come to touch overhead, and then on your exhalation, we'll find your neutral mountain pose. Turn your palms to face the front of the mat. Lift your chest. Drop your shoulders. Hips stay over the ankles. Chin is tucked slightly, lifting up through the crown of your head. And then bringing both hands out in front of you. We're going to do a few breath-connected squats. Keep your heels on the ground throughout the entire motion. So exhale, lower down. Start to feel your heels lift. Don't come down so low. Inhale, come up. Keep moving this way. Next time you inhale, come up, sweep the arms out and up, reach up and grab for the left wrist, side bend over to your right. Take a few breaths here. And then inhale back to center. Exhale over to the left, switch your hands. Good. Then inhale back to center. Exhale, lower down. We're going to go ahead and move through a modified Ardha Namaskara A. Right, so on your inhalation, let's go ahead, sweep your hands up, reach for the ceiling, and then exhale, forward fold, hinge at the hips, bend your knees. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, deep squat. Inhale, rise up, reach up, grab for the left wrist, side bend to the right, exhale. Inhale back to center. We'll switch. Inhale back to center. Exhale, mountain pose. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold, hinge at the hips, bend your knees. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, deep squat. Inhale, rise up, reach up. Grab for the left wrist, side bend to the right. Inhale, center, switch. Inhale, center. Exhale, mountain pose. Last round here. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, deep squat. Inhale, rise up, reach up, side bend right. Inhale, center, side bend left. Inhale, center. Exhale, mountain pose. And let's shift our weight onto our right foot. We'll set up for tree. So either build your kickstand with your toes on the ground, or bring your sole of your foot to your calf, or maybe draw the heel of your left foot all the way up close to the base of your body. Find your drishti, something that's not moving, on the floor or the wall in front of you. And then from here, it's up to you. You can bring your hands down to the mudra and let your energy out. Or you can work with the bind, letting your left hand slide down towards your left chin, sliding your right arm behind the low back, and maybe binding just above the elbow on the left hand. switching feet. Let's ground down through the left foot. Build your tree on the other side. And again, pick the hand position or maybe progression of hand progression positions that's going to serve you today. Keep your chest lifted. Let your shoulder blades slide down the back, lift up through the crown of your head. Continue breathing. Turning back to neutral. Just take your feet a little bit wider than your mat. Turn your toes out to the side. Let your hands come down onto your thighs. We'll practice a few rounds of external breath retentions. Exhale all the air out. Suck your low belly into your spine. Engage your Uddiyana Bandha, your pelvic floor. Just slightly tuck your chin. Hold the air out for a few seconds, and then when you feel like you want to breathe, release the belly first, and then let the air come back in through your nose. We'll just do a few rounds like this on your own. Take a resting breath in between. If you're pregnant or recently had abdominal surgery, probably best to skip this to maintain safety. Otherwise, you should be safe to practice. And again, don't hold the air out so long that it creates any strain in your breathing. All right, so exhaling all the air out. Go at your own pace. If you want to watch me, you can watch me for a round and then join in. Once you've completed the round that you're currently on, let's go ahead and return back to your mountain pose. Palms face the front of the room. Notice any effects of the breath retention and the bandha work. And then inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or hop back into plank and lower down. Willis. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing here. At the bottom of your next exhalation, pause the breath and step or hop your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reach up for the ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Let's keep moving that way. Surya Namaskar. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step, hop back and lower down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. At the bottom of your next exhalation, pause the breath. Step or hop your feet to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up, reach up. Exhale, mountain pose. Last one here. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step, rock back, lower down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's just breathe here. And then once your breathing has returned to normal, take a few more rounds of external breath retentions, Bahir Kumbaka, and we'll add in the Uddiyana Bandha, of course. So remember, after you exhale all the air out, engage your pelvic floor, and then suck the low belly in toward the spine and up. Uddiyana Bandha means upward flying. So lock. Bandha means lock or gate. Uddiyana means upward flying. So the idea is you want to draw that low belly in and up, sort of pushing the prana up into the chest. So exhale all the air out. And remember to release the belly first before you breathe again. A few more rounds. Once you've completed the round you're currently on, let's shift your weight forward so that your shoulders come over your wrists. Find your plank pose. Continue breathing. And then on your exhalation, lower all the way down to the mat with control. And make a little pillow with your hands. Bring your forehead down onto the back of your top hand. And just find a moment of stillness here, noticing any effects of the bandha work. Let's bring both hands to the low back, stack your palms so that your palms are facing up toward the ceiling, and then extend your right arm, turn your palm up toward the ceiling, lift your left leg, and then when you exhale, lower down and turn your right ear down toward the ground, and return your right hand to your low back and your left foot to the ground. And then inhale, left arm extends, palm turns up, right leg lifts. And then exhale, return back to the way you started, except turn your head in the opposite direction away from your hand as it moves back to the low back. And just keep moving this way, opposite hand, opposite leg, finding a little counter twist for the neck each time you lower down. Use your breath. Remember to try to improve the quality of the movement with each repetition. And then once you've completed an equal number of repetitions in each direction, let's come into Sphinx pose, elbows under the wrists, palms flat on the mat, lift up through the crown of your head, let your belly drop. And then slide your right knee out to the side, forming a 90-degree angle with your hip, your knee, and your ankle. And then from here, lift up a little bit higher, through the crown of your head, pull your elbows back toward your heels. See if you can feel the center of your chest moving through your shoulders. Breathe. Good. And then switching sides. neutral. Let's walk both hands back down by the low ribs, curl your toes under, lift your knees up off the mat, and use your exhalation, press yourself back up into plank, and shift your hips back for downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the right leg high, bend through the knee, stack the hips, and then leveling out the hips again on your exhalation. Step your right foot through, spin your left heel down to the mat, rise up for warrior two. Grinding down through the outer edge of your left foot, sink your right knee over your right ankle. Try not to let your right knee collapse toward the inside of your mat. Keep your pelvis stacked straight up and down, or torso stacked straight up and down over your pelvis. Eye gaze is soft off the middle finger of your right hand. Continue breathing. Good, then inhale, straighten through the front leg. Let's weave the fingers together behind the low back. Keep your chest square to the long edge of your mat, and then exhale, right hip glides, left hip and left shoulder right back. Continue breathing. Uddiyana Trikonasana, extended triangle pose, but without the use of your arms this time. Try to keep your upper body from falling forward. Sometimes when we add the arms, we tend to lose the integrity in the upper body, and the left shoulder collapses forward. We fall out of that play. All right, inhale, come on back up, bend through your front knee, and bring the right forearm to the inside of your right foot, or maybe the right hand down to the inside or the outside of your right foot. Right forearm to the inside of your right thigh, I should have said, excuse me. And then extend the left arm overhead. Wrap your heart up toward the ceiling, lengthen through the hand. If it hurts to look up, look down. Continue breathing, continue wrapping, continue opening at the heart, lengthening through the side body, extending through the fingertips, drawing the shoulder back down away from the ear, pressing down through the outer edge of the left foot. Continue breathing. Good, and then bringing both hands to the inside of the right foot. Pivot your right foot at a 45-degree angle so it points toward the top corner of your mat, and then sink into a transverse lunge. So a couple of breaths here with the outer edge of the left foot still grounded. Take a lot of weight onto the right pinky toe side of your foot, pinky toe side of your right foot, outer right hip. And then if you want to move through some variations in your transverse lunge, you can roll the toes of your left foot up toward the sky, sink a little deeper, adjust your hand position, maybe take your hands out, kind of bind. Go ahead, give it a go, continue breathing. All right, releasing what you're doing there with your hands. Let's pivot to face the front of the mat. We'll take a Vajrasana before we move on. Plant down through your left hand, roll onto the pinky toe side of your left foot. Right arm extends, lift your hips. Good, and then returning back through your neutral plank. Inhale the shoulders over your wrists. Exhale, lower down with control. Inhale, cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breathing here. Inhale, lift the left leg, bend through the knee, stack the hips, and then leveling out the hips. Exhale, step your left foot through, spin your right heel down to the mat, rise up, warrior two on the other side. Outer edge of the right foot is grounded. Sinking the left knee over the left ankle, not letting that left knee collapse in toward the midline of your body. Torso stays stacked over the pelvis. Eye gaze is soft off the middle finger of your left hand this time. Inhale, straighten through the front leg. Weave the fingers together. Take the non-habitual grips, your other pinkies on the bottom. Square your chest to the long edge of your mat. Left hip glides. Right shoulder, right hip, right back. Breathing here. coming back up to neutral. Bend through your front knee, bring the left hand to the forearm to the inside of the left thigh, or left hand comes down to the inside, maybe the outside of your left foot. Draw your right arm up over your ear, extend through the fingertips, draw your shoulder blade back down, the shoulders away from your ear, shoulder blade down the back, outer edge of both feet pressing down into the mat. Wrap your heart open toward the sky, breathing, fit the neck in, maybe looking up, maybe looking down. Good, and then coming back to find your neutral runner's lunge, shift your weight onto, bring both hands to the inside of your left foot, and then turn the left toes at a 45-degree angle toward the corner of your mat. A few breaths in the transverse lunge, with the outer pinky toe side of your right foot still grounded. And then if you moved on the other side, maybe give it a try here. Spin the toes, take a few breaths. Maybe take your hands out of the equation, maybe binding on the other side. Good, and then releasing that. Let's return to your runner's lunge, this time Vashisthasana, right hand. Roll into the pinky toe side of your right foot, stack the feet, reach up with the left hand, lift the hips. Breathing here. Good, and then coming back through neutral. Let's either press yourself back from plank into down dog, or if you want to move through a vinyasa, gonna add some breath connected movement. Get yourself there. From your downward facing dog, on your exhalation, bring your right knee behind and outside of your right wrist. Walk your left foot back, set up for pigeon pose. So remember, if this is no good on your knee, you can roll onto your hip and come into more of a 90-90 position, bending the left knee and bringing it out to the side. Get a lot of the same benefits. Wherever you're at, walk your hands back towards your front foot. Lift up your chest. Continue breathing, staying square in the hips. If you're in the more traditional variation of pigeon pose, then we'll take a twist. So bring your left forearm down to the mat. Hand can come down by your right knee. And twist to your right. So right hand can come to your sacrum. You can reach up for the sky if that feels good for you. Always feels a little janky on the shoulder. Another option is to reach your right hand around your low back and bind on the big toe of your right foot. Wherever you're at, press down through your left forearm. Drag your left elbow toward the left side of your mat. See if that helps you to open up your heart to the right. Continue breathing. All right, a little strength work here in your pigeon pose. So shorten up, you come back to neutral and then shorten up your stance a little bit. So draw your knee, left knee forward, your right hip back a little, engage your pelvic floor, and then walk your hands back again. Lighten the load on your fingers. Maybe take them out completely. Bring your hands to Mushti Mudra, tucking your fingers around your thumbs. Maybe stay here and breathe, or if you want to add a little movement, exhale down. Inhale up. If you want to add the movement, and you want to bring your hands down, you can do that as well for support. Once you've completed your fourth round on the first side, bring your hands down to the mat and then walk your hands forward, lower down for sleeping pigeon. Bring your forearms down to the mat and come all the way down like I'm doing. See if you can release your head onto something. Maybe slide a yoga block underneath your forehead if it doesn't come comfortably down to the mat. Or you can even stack your fists and just put your forehead on top of your top fist as you breathe. Press down through the hands, curl the toes under, return to down dog. If you want to pick up that right leg, maybe kick it out. You can stack the hips again, or maybe even drop the right foot behind the left. Take a Stasana, sometimes called wild thing. And then returning back to down dog. Level out the hips. Breathe in here. And on your next exhalation, left knee behind the left wrist. Walk the right leg back. Remember your modification. Rolling onto the left hip. If this is too much for your knee, walk your hands back. Lift up through your chest. Feel that weight of your torso dropping down into your pelvis. A couple of breaths here. And then bring your right forearm down to the mat. Right hand close to the left knee, and we'll take the twist. So twisting to your left this time. Left hand maybe comes to the sacrum. You can reach up for the ceiling. Or you can wrap the left hand behind the low back. Fish around for that big toe on your left foot. And breathe. Wherever you're at, traction your right elbow toward the right side of your mat. Feel how that helps to draw your chest to the left, up toward the sky. Continue breathing. To your more neutral pigeon, walk your hands back towards your front foot. Draw your right knee forward, left hip back a little. Engage the pelvic floor, engaging those muscles, moving away from your in range of motion as you lighten the load. Mushti mudra with the hands, and then exhale, lower down. Inhale up, keep moving. 4 rounds. Once you've completed your 4th round, hands come back down to the mat. Slide forward, find your variation of sleeping pigeon. It's going to work for you. Remember your options to release your head. And then just allow yourself to soften into your edge. Breathing into the sensations that arise. Modifying if you feel any acute pain. Otherwise, just practicing relaxing into that slight feeling of discomfort that's generated from moving to your edge, wherever that is today at this time. Both hands back down onto the mat, lift the head, curl the back toes under, push yourself back, downward facing dog. If you want to kick up the left leg, bend out the knee, maybe roll into the pinky toe side of your right foot, drop your left foot behind, Stasana on the other side. And then returning back to your downward facing dog. Deep breaths here. And then from here, let's come forward into seated. So anyway, you want to transition into your seat and then lower down onto your back. We'll bring both palms down, flat on the mat. Bring your heels up close to the base of your body. And on your inhalation, lift your hips, lift your hands up overhead. And then on your exhalation, lower back down. Just keep moving this way. Dynamic bridge. And then the next time you inhale, keep your hips high, keep your hands above your head. And on your exhalation, suck your belly back down towards your spine. Engage your pelvic floor. Create Uddiyana Bandha again. And once all the air is out and your belly is back down to your spine, slowly lower back down. When your tailbone or sacrum touches the mat, release the low belly and then inhale back up and repeat. So inhaling up, exhale all the air out, create the bandha. Once you've got the bandha, lower down, and then once your back touches, release the belly and inhale back up. Once you've completed the round that you're currently on, let's go ahead and bring both hands down alongside your hips. Bring your feet out a little bit wider than your mat, and then you can bring your arms out to a T position. Turn your palms up to face to the ceiling and drop both knees over to the right. And then use your inhalation to come back to center, and then exhale left. Inhale center, and we'll just keep moving this way with your own breath. Once you've completed an equal number on both sides, you can go ahead and roll to one side or the other. We'll come back up. We'll do headstand before we close today. So set yourself up for headstand anyway. If you want to move over to the wall, go ahead to do it safely. If you're not practicing headstand today, you can just bring the crown of your head down to the mat, weave your fingers together, elbows in about shoulder width apart, and then bring the crown of your head near the top of your head down to the mat. Keep pressing down through your forearms, and then when you're ready, go ahead and come on up. And if you feel stable here, you can add some more bond work here. It's interesting to do it out of the headstand. It's difficult to balance, but you have the benefit of gravity really working with you, because as you pull your low belly in and up, gravity helps to draw that belly in and up. So it's working with you in this case, as opposed to downward facing dog where you're working against gravity. So when you're ready, exhale all the air out. If you're stable, suck the low belly in, engage the pelvic floor, hold the air out a few seconds, then release the bandha and breathe. A few rounds on your own. Once you've completed the round that you're currently on, release the breathing, and then when you're ready, start to come down from your headstand. Maybe take a few breaths in child's pose. And just notice the effects of being upside down. If you worked with the bandha while you were upside down in the breath retention, just notice the effect. And you breathe. And then when you're ready, find your way back onto your back body again. Anyway, you want to transition. Finish up with a static supine twist. So, feet come down to the mat, again, wider than your hips, palms come out to the side. Drop both knees over to the right. Take this statically, so left shoulder stays heavy, shoulder blade stays heavy. Even if it rolls up a little bit, just let that feeling of dropping the left shoulder blade down to the mat come into your body. And if you want some modifications, you can pick up your right ankle and just slide your right ankle over the outside of your left thigh. Little weight. Turn your eye gaze toward your left hand. And breathing here. And then when you're ready to switch to the other side, unwind and let your knees drop over to the left. Keep them wide, unless this creates a pinching feeling on your low back, and then pick up your left foot and just drop it over the outside of your right leg, and let that weight of your left foot help to traction out the right hip. Turn your eye gaze toward your right hand this time if you want to. Find the counter twist for your neck. Continue breathing. And then, when you've had enough, unwind, extend your legs. We'll move right into Savasana now. So, set yourself up in any position where you can really practice just letting go of any attempt to do anything in particular or make anything happen. Allow your body to be nice and long and flat against the mat. And just start to sink into the space that you've created with your body and your breath and your attention. Nothing you need to do. No one you need to be. like to stay here a little bit longer, feel free to pause the video and you can stay for really as long as you like, but if you'd like to join me for a short round of pranayama followed by closing, then begin to exit your shavasana by slowly deepening your breathing, making your inhalations a little more full and your exhalations more complete. And then wiggling the fingers, the toes, the wrists, the ankles, the elbows, the knees, the hips, the shoulders. You can start to move your body until you feel ready to bend to your knees and roll to one side or the other, using the strength of your arms to press yourself back up to a comfortable seat. As we did at the beginning of class, we want to take a moment to set yourself up so that you can sit comfortably with a relatively upright neutral spine. Again, if that means adding some height for your hips or your support for your outer thighs, you can go ahead and set yourself up and then shift a little side to side. Make sure you're balanced right to left, front to back. Release the low belly. Lift the chest, let the shoulder blades drop back, slightly tuck the chin. Feel that feeling of the crown of your head lifting up toward the sky. Close your eyes or lower your lids and let your vision just softening around the eyes, bringing the tip of your tongue up against the juncture, the back of your top teeth meet the roof of your mouth, just letting your jaw relax, mouth is closed, and bring your attention to your breath as it enters and exits at the tip of your nose. And just follow the natural contour of your breathing, noticing the sensations as they enter and exit the tip of your nose. And then add a silent count to make your inhalations and your exhalations last the same amount of time. So if you inhale for 4, exhale for 4. If you inhale for 12, exhale for 12. And just continue with this pattern, not creating any strain or irregularity with your breathing, but just finding a natural rhythm to create that Samana-Vritti pattern, equal fluctuation of inhalation and exhalation. Next round, at the bottom of your exhalation, include an external breath retention that lasts half as long as your inhalations and your exhalations. So if you've been inhaling for 8, exhale for 4, hold the air out at the bottom of your exhalation for 4, and then inhale again for 8. So we'll go in a pattern of 8, 4, 8. If this creates any strain or anxiety, go shorten the external breath retention a little. And of course, if you're doing an odd number for your inhalations and your exhalations, just split the difference. Of course, as you're doing this, don't worry about creating a bandha. Just hold the air out, very gentle, keeping the low belly relaxed the whole time. Once you complete the round that you're currently on, release the technique and just return to your normal pattern of breathing, noticing the effects of the external breath retention. Bringing your palms together in prayer position, Anjali Mudra at the level of your heart. Let's take one final moment to enjoy the peace that you've created through your practice. Close by chanting Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Inhale. Peace for ourselves, peace for our communities, peace for all beings everywhere. Namaste. Thanks for sharing your practice, everyone, today. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them in the comment field below. And if there's types of videos you want to see or practices you want to see, you can leave those as suggestions as well. I'm always looking for those. And thanks for sharing your practice. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can stop by again soon. Take care.